What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Sober Superstars. And today I've got Dugan, who has celebrated how long now in sobriety?
8.5 years. Yeah.
Struggling with over how many years were you actually caught up in addiction?
10 plus.
10 plus.
Yeah.
What were your drug of choice, or in your case, drugs of choice?
Yeah, actually, now that I think about that a little more, was a lot longer than 10 years because the first addiction was to food when I was younger, like maybe 6 or so. And people don't think of that a lot of times as a drug or an addiction, but addiction spans everything. It's not just literal drugs.
Well, shit.
As far
food,
as
FDA, food and drug. You know what I mean?
That's a big one.
Both of
That's
them.
a big one.
Sugar, especially. Shit.
Yeah. No, it's anything mind altering, which is sugar. So, otherwise, though, drug wise, heroin, meth, cocaine, ecstasy, party drugs, all the stuff, a lot of weed, alcohol.
Damn, so the full spectrum.
Yeah.
Just like all of it. So if
yeah.
it fucked you up, you wanted it.
Yeah, there were the main ones, like heroin. That was like the big main one, but that was just like the go steady, and then everything else was like on top. So, yeah, we got crazy pretty quick. Yeah.
So 8 years sober now. Catch me up. When you got sober, I mean, you weren't always this fit. Like, I mean, you just finished running a marathon in Hawaii, right?
Yeah, I literally just got back a couple days ago and ran for 26.2 miles straight, which is crazy. I was 400 pounds, just about. I don't know exactly. You stop weighing yourself when you get that heavy. I was close. But that was like 2 years ago or so. It was actually July 7th of 21, I think. I was up in Wyoming for the 4th of July with our mutual friend, and like remember just saying, this is it. This is on the weight loss thing. Signed up for a membership to Lifetime, the gym here, and started working with Corey, who then I introduced to Greg, and that was the start of it, and have lost 150 plus pounds or whatever since then. But
running marathons, bro.
Yeah.
From 400 pounds to running 400 pounds, doing all the fucking spectrum of drugs, to now running fucking marathons. What else do you do?
I'm a business owner and music producer, so I have a school that teaches music production, audio engineering, and then also we're a studio, do production, recording, starting to get into other things like video and any creative arts. We're kind of a creative college, so it's a new thing that I'm developing called Develop, actually, spelled DVLP, and kind of in a startup mode with that. Have a new building in Denver and building things up. So it's kind of a crazy, wild, exciting time, but in a very positive way. Not crazy and wild compared to how it was 8 years ago.
No, it's still crazy and wild. You make some dope ass beats, bro.
Oh, I appreciate it.
It's definitely crazy and wild. So, okay, so talk to me through, what were some of the worst experiences that you had during your years of addiction?
I mean, I've definitely overdosed a lot, and I don't know exactly how many times, but I think there were 3 specific ones where I actually was like dead and had to get brought back.
Oh, fuck.
And like Narcan back and all that stuff. So those weren't good, of course. And then seeing other people OD is never good, and kind of, rushed off in ambulances. There's a lot of hospital visits, stuff like that.
Have you lost anybody to addiction?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
How many? Too many to count, or you have some close ones that really impacted?
Definitely a few close ones. I'm not sure the exact number. There's a lot of acquaintances back from the world that are no longer here that I wasn't really, I was like close with, like fake close with,
right.
Yeah. And then there were the ones from like childhood that got wrapped up in it that were closer, truly closer, that went. But so I don't know. I don't have an exact number, but definitely I feel like everyone, whether you're an addict or not, which I have a whole thought on that I'll come back to, knows someone though that has maybe lost their life, or knows someone who knows someone, or at least knows someone who is addicted to drugs, like, or alcohol. Like
Right.
everyone knows someone.
Right.
It's a very prevalent thing.
Especially now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It seems to be getting a little better. I feel like younger kids are realizing it's not cool to like smoke cigarettes and drink alcohol and party as much, um, which
You
is
might be
cool.
in a better crowd because honestly, what I'm realizing right now is so, like, for example, me growing up, it was rare to have the drug addict at my level,
Oh
right?
yeah,
Like, I was the one that was heavily into drugs and everything like that and totally off base. Now
yeah,
it seems like it's a lot more of a norm for people to, and I mean, even to the point where thank goodness I wasn't around when
fentanyl.
fentanyl came.
Yeah,
I'd be fucking dead.
yeah,
There's no ifs, ands, or buts. I'd be fucking dead with the amount of meth that I did and pushing the limits and everything like that. There was no stop point for me. I mean, there
right.
really just wasn't. I just kept going and kept going and kept going. The only stop point that actually existed for me is, oh fuck, I ran out,
Yeah, yeah,
which meant mission, go get more,
yeah.
and that was
Exactly.
it, right?
Yeah,
Like so. Unfortunately,
yeah,
it's been a crazy, crazy, crazy like cycle of just going through that shit.
yeah. It's hard to say how bad it is or not. I guess, but maybe that's just my optimistic self for thinking it's getting better from before. But who knows? I mean, yeah, the fentanyl stuff's crazy. I don't. I'm glad to have got out of things when I did. I definitely used a lot of that though, and would.
You did?
Yeah, yeah. I would.
Oh fuck, you full spectrum even
Oh
to
yeah,
that.
yeah. Because I it was around 2011, and I would use the dark web and Bitcoin and all that stuff and order stuff online when like it was the Silk Road 1.0 kind of stuff.
I don't even know shit about it. How?
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's a dark web, so like you can go on there and just order anything online. So like
Oh my god,
you could
can
get
you imagine?
like pure everything shipped to you, and was pretty crazy. Bitcoin was $11. I had like tons of them. Who would have known? Who would
Oh Jesus.
I know it's kind of crazy, but whatever. It's hindsight's always 20/20. They say so. But the thing,
How was your family throughout all this? Did you
Oh
have a
yeah,
good family
I have a very
support?
supportive family,
Okay.
very good family I came from, and have still, and everyone slowly kind of, when you push and push so much, they can only take so much. So, everyone sorts of starts to back off. They're still supportive, but when you're pushing them away, it's eventually they're going to walk away too. So no one like fully left, but they did a lot, I think, kind of give up at certain points because there was a lot of like rehabs and then going back
How many
out.
rehabs you fell out of?
I think like 5 or something like that. I don't know the exact number. There's some sober living, some rehabs, and some like halfway houses. So there were a bunch of those, some crazy ones. And then
Any mental home?
yeah,
Stuff?
yeah, I was in
Hospitalized 72 hours, all that stuff?
Yeah, there was one of them at the last time, like a psych ward I was in, because they tested my urine and I had 8 substances, so they were like, you're crazy. So
Right.
I woke up and there was a lady editing the Constitution and stuff, and I was like, where am I?
She's editing the
Yeah,
Constitution.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
Straight up. Yeah, it's like
I love it.
psych ward stuff. Luckily, I didn't lose myself like mentally. I definitely like did during it, but like now I'm still here mentally, my facilities and faculties, whatever. So I know some people that kind of they're like fried. So I'm very grateful and blessed to still be with it and not have you can like get sober, but you left a lot on the table, like mentally, I think, and very grateful to still be with it. You can definitely fry yourself taking a lot of like hallucinogens and stuff. So, I know some people that didn't die, but they are sober, but just maybe smoke a lot of weed and are just kind of like fried. I don't know how else to say it, So very grateful that I'm still like, it took a while though, man. After I got sober, I mean years to.
Well, talk to me
like,
about your road to recovery then. Talk to me about what insights you had that was like, hey, fuck, I'm done doing this shit. Or was it one of those things where you were sick and tired of being sick and tired? Talk about the road to recovery, what you actually did that got you there, and then we'll talk about the path after that. But let's talk
Yeah, for
about
sure.
road to recovery.
I mean, it was a lot of trying to get sober and then failing, but never really actually wanting to deep down. You know, you would go to these rehabs and then like kind of be like, okay, yeah, but fully, if you were really truly honest with yourself, didn't really fully want it. Otherwise, I would have done it back then. So it's not going to change until you actually change, like just straight up.
Or
And
even make a real decision
that's
and
what I mean.
actually want
Yeah,
it,
no,
right?
it won't happen until you actually make the decision and fully actually do. And you can trick yourself into thinking you do and did, but you have to really get to that real state where you like give up.
Well,
So
a lot of times you do because the situation's bad.
yeah,
But if you were in the midst of a great high and everything like that, and you still didn't want to quit, then you really didn't want to quit. You know what I mean?
right,
Like
right.
if a great high is enough to say, oh, maybe I'm not ready, you're not ready to quit.
Well, yeah, and that
You've
you
got to
can
want it
you can
on
hit a
both
low
ends.
spot and then it recover from it, and then it didn't seem that bad, and then go right back to it and
Right.
kind of be on this roller coaster.
Well, shit, I can't.
Yeah.
There was a time where I was literally like my heart was pounding so fast. I thought I was about to go to a heart attack. And I'm pretty sure a lot of addicts, I'm not the only one that's gone through this, but I'm pretty sure a lot of people that have struggled with drugs and have pushed the limits have gone to the stage where, you know, you literally feel like you're about to die, and you make that pact or that, dear God, if I just make it through this, I swear I'll never fucking do it again. And as soon as you make it through it,
Exactly, it's temporary.
fucking
Yeah.
just boom, smash right into it again. And I remember going through that a couple times, but there was one definitive time where I literally thought I was gonna die. I remember I was sitting on my bed and just laying there crying and begging and praying, and that was probably still 6 years before I finally
Oh yeah.
made the decision. Hey, I need to fucking change.
Yeah,
I
I've
need to quit.
countless times of that.
Yeah,
Sick, withdrawing, or whatever it might be. Um, but yeah, it was never really. It was never there. And people ask me all the time, like, "What did it?" And there isn't.
right.
It's not. It's not one thing. There's no like. Well, I just read this book and then I'm good. It's a culmination of all the things over all the years, and basically it came down to the decision: do I want to live or die? That was it. It was.
So were you at that point? And at
Oh, for
this point,
sure.
were you heavy?
Yeah.
Were you
I've
heavy
been
doing drugs or
like weight wise.
Yeah.
No, no. I've been up and down weight wise. I was a bigger, younger kid with the food stuff, but then throughout the addiction, fluctuated, was pretty skinny and stuff. I got really overweight after getting sober, which is fairly common.
Yeah.
You kind of replace food with the drugs, and you're kind of like soothing yourself for a couple of years and recovering truly. Like, you know, I was struggling to finish full sentences for a while after getting sober and all that sort of stuff. And you're just kind of, it's okay, eat, recover, self-soothe, all that stuff. So no, I wasn't very big, but had been at times, and I've been all over the place, honestly. Pretty skinny, really fat, all while using, and then also fit and fat while not using. So that's been a big struggle. But yeah, there was never one thing. It just kind of came down to that decision. Like, it takes what it takes, they say, and, you know, hitting that like rock bottom. But there was so many other rock bottoms. It kind of came to that. It was like, all right, well, this is it, you know. And
Do you remember your decision point?
no, it was never like one singular point of like blah. It was just no, because you know, I was on the side of the road up in Estes Park and had OD'd and was in an ambulance and taken somewhere and all crazy shit. I'm not sure. I was very gone, like physically and mentally, obviously. And so woke up in that psych ward and then went back to CEDAR, Center for Addiction, Dependency, and Rehabilitation, whatever CEDAR stands for. It's part of Anschutz.
Good, yeah.
It's a rehab in Colorado. Amazing place.
Oh, nice.
Amazing place. I've been there twice. The first time I was, brought in a bunch of stuff and caused a bunch of issues, and they all know me there very well.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, it's an amazing place.
It's a wonderful name. It's a wonderful place to be famous.
Not many people have been there twice, and not many people. Yeah, it's not nothing I'm proud of. But anyway, I ended up going there again, and that was the last time. And I don't really know. Something clicked. I don't know if it's like spiritual thing, but
Have you looked back to try to figure out what it was that maybe made it click? Because I mean, you're talking 8 years sober now, right?
8.5, yeah.
Do you have an exact sobriety date?
June 12th.
June 12th.
Yeah.
Okay, so 6/12 is your sobriety date.
Yeah.
And you know that. So nothing miraculous that happened then. No decision factors. No hard stop from it. Was it more just like a wean?
I didn't have a choice. Yeah, it was, like I was gonna die, like that was it. So and then it took years to slowly recover. You know, I was in that psych ward at that time, and a few years prior.
Oh,
I was in the psych
decision
ward.
Was made in psych ward.
No. I was barely like. You're not really in a place to make decisions for like a couple years. I feel like I had made the decision, so I obviously wasn't using, but like was purely recovering physically and mentally and all that stuff. Just if that does that make, you know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
no, definitely. I mean, you had a rough road back.
Yeah. It doesn't. You don't just like.
Back to freedom.
I mean, it depends on the level of your usage and whatever, but you know, when you get to an extreme,
or how wide the spectrum of
yeah.
the usage.
Oh yeah,
was,
it's crazy.
Fucking gracious.
But when at a certain point, like you got, if you make the decision, you still have some time to like kind of get your bearings back and stuff, and once you get those bearings back, you're like, holy shit, you're not thinking straight when you're the drugs and all that stuff are literally like demonic poison stuff. Like they literally take you and turn you into something that you otherwise aren't, and you're not thinking straight. You're not you're not there. You're not your normal self. You're in this other world, another land you're taken. And once you can finally get away, which is why rehabs exist and stuff like that, so that you can almost like force yourself to get out of it, because otherwise you're stuck. You're like tightened. Not everyone needs rehabs, but once you can like get clear headed and stuff, then you start realizing like, whoa, what the heck just happened? You almost are like living in this bubble of reality. You don't even, or non-reality when you're using, and don't even realize what's going on until you can actually detox and get sober. And then you look back and are like, whoa, that was me. Like I really did that. That's crazy. Even now looking back, it seems like a different life and person, but it's very much not. And it's important to realize that and keep that front of mind, that it's very real and always, right around the corner and all that stuff, right? Surrendering to that reality. But, so yeah,
is that a reality for you?
What?
Is there a possibility of going back to drugs?
I mean,
for you?
No, my immediate answer is no. Like, I absolutely hate that shit. I never want to touch it.
I'm
very strong with it. But I do know that the whole thing with like NA and AA is surrendering to the fact that you are an addict. And so for that reason, I kind of force myself to surrender to that and know that, yeah, like my ego wants to be like, fuck no, I never touched that shit. But I know over lots of confirmed experience that, yeah, I could. And it's important for me to realize that and like know that about myself. Because I'll never not be an addict, right? Like I have this powerful energy inside of me that likes going for it, hitting the extremes and really seeking something that's maybe not reachable in life, searching for some sort of magic. I thought in drugs was trying to use the drugs to reach that magic. And I think a lot of addicts have this zest for life that drugs can kind of be a avenue to look for that zest, and it doesn't work. But so now like
it doesn't work, but
right. So now it's not like I'm not an addict anymore. You know what I mean? I'm always an addict, and it's actually an extremely strong trait to have, being an addict. It's a absolute superpower. You have an energy that is unmatched. You have it. You got a strong ass willpower and energy about you that some people just don't have. And if you focus that into drugs, you're off.
Yeah,
if you
I was off.
If you focus that into car sales, you're
I'm
off.
Fucking crushing it.
Yeah, if you focus that whatever it is, you shouldn't downplay that or like lessen that.
No,
You need to point it.
It's
I
actually
think.
one of the things that I talk about on this podcast and the whole concept behind Sober Superstars, right? Like, again, I talk about this where if I was still addicted to this day, to this point, and you were to ask me if I ran out of drugs and you were to ask me what's stopping me from getting it,
Nothing.
nothing, absolutely fucking nothing, just
Yeah.
period.
Yeah.
But imagine putting that into a passion, a purpose, something
Family,
that actually
whatever
gives,
it is. Yeah.
yeah, or something that actually serves others, because
Right.
that in itself also has the universe, God, everything backing you and creating that power to push behind you and your grit. On top of that, oh my gosh, the fucking outcomes are exponential.
Agreed. It's not easy, and it's something that has to be managed. Like with my exercise and fitness, like there's been some times where I kind of overdo it a little bit and like get injured and then keep doing it because I feel like I need to.
So still addicted?
Yeah, well, yeah,
Fuck yeah.
that doesn't go away. Like you
Nope.
don't, and then with food, I struggle with that and will overeat, and I've had to really reel that in and figure that out. It's just a process of becoming better over time. There's no like fixed switch, once you get sober, that all that shit doesn't go away. You can do a lot of, which I've done so much, therapy and things of that nature to figure out why you started using and your triggers and your trauma, and all that's fantastic. But you also need to like come to terms with who you are and accept it and enjoy it and love it yourself. Love yourself so that you can, be like, all right, I'm going to point this in the direction of fitness and love for myself, eating healthy and relationships and business or whatever it might be, and actually use. I think everyone's an addict, every human. It's just the level at which you are an addict changes. Because I think
Well, absolutely true.
the premise of an
Absolutely
addiction is that you are seeking pleasure and running from pain and doing something to promote that over and over, essentially. So, someone who wakes up and has to drink their morning coffee, you could technically argue is like addicted to
true. I
coffee.
thought I might coffee.
Right,
Here. I was gonna
right.
be like,
Or someone that has like a glass of wine a night. Obviously, that's very different than like banging heroin every day. But
right.
the premise is kind of the same, where you're using something to create a certain response that solves a problem. So I just think the level to which you are changes from person to person. But yeah.
Right. And I think, honestly, I think there's a driving force that you could utilize to actually find full freedom. I truly believe this. I believe that even in every addiction or in every ailment that we suffer as a human species, or just us as a society in general, there is full freedom.
Yeah.
Now, there's a path to it. Not all, if you're religious and stuff like that, then there's certain paths that they swear is only the one way. But as you see in the diversity of the human race, no, there's 1,000,000,001 ways to find different freedoms for whatever it is that you're seeking, right? So for me, it was Jesus. But I've seen other people that don't believe in Jesus that have also found freedom in their life and are absolutely living it out and living their best fucking lives. So the thing is, I cannot, like that whole, I'm an addict, always an addict factor. I like how you brought this up, though, because I've never thought of it this way. Like, words matter. Right? The fucking words that you say really matter. And my words are, I will never fucking do drugs again. There's just no ifs, ands, or fucking buts. Period. Yeah. And it's not the whole pride comes before the fall kind of thing, because, at first I was scared to say that, but I knew I was free.
Right.
I knew I was given freedom from it.
Yeah.
And I could live that out. But I like the concept that you just said, I'm an addict, always an addict. Yes, now I'm just addicted to fucking other amazing things.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? Like, I'm not addicted to the drugs anymore. Fuck the drugs. That shit is nowhere near in comparison. And before, when people used to ask me, how do you know you're completely free?
Right.
Well, the way that I would describe it is, okay, when I was using drugs, if you were to ask me anytime then, on a scale of 1 to 10, right, how were you feeling? A good day, I'd probably say 4, 5. I mean, I was a depressed kid.
Right.
I was overweight. I was insecure. And, I was just, like, lonely. All of that stuff, right? Like, there was a lot of different things, from familial aspects and our auntie who stayed with us and some abuses that happened there that pushed me towards that direction. But the truth is, I was all of those things. And on a scale of 1 to 10, I was a 4. And there were some days where I was a fucking -2 and in full despair. The crazy thing is, when I do drugs, the first time, or the first high that you get, the whole concept of chasing the dragon, I'd probably peak at a 9 and feel that way, right? But every subsequent trying to catch that 9, it would always just be like an 8, 7,
Right.
6. And the truth is, I never got higher than a 6 anymore.
Yeah.
But
no,
for
definitely.
somebody who's going from a -2 to a 4 on a daily basis, and that's the way that I felt,
Yeah.
hell fucking yeah, I'm going to do whatever it fucking takes to get to a 6.
Right. Well, that's the people don't realize maybe that aren't or haven't done drugs and are wondering like, 'cause
Why would you do that?
yeah, I've had people in the past that are like, well, you weren't supposed to do drugs anyway, so it's like cool you stopped, but like now you're just back to even, and that's I don't know, it's like kind of a weird mentality because people use drugs and alcohol or food or sex or whatever it might be because it works. You know what I mean?
Right. Again,
Yeah.
it works even in small increments, even that tiny shift. I mean, in the sense of priorities, that when you're somebody in despair or depression, that shift up,
Yeah.
whether it's a tiny fucking shift, is all I fucking cared about.
Yeah. Of
I didn't
course.
care about nothing else. I just needed to feel something.
Yeah. And that's that. Drugs aside, that doesn't go away. If you wake up and you're feeling sick, like you have a cold, what are you going to do? You're going to seek a way to feel just a little better. It's the same damn thing. And what if you're like not as happy with your weight or your fitness? Then you're going to seek a way to just get a little bit better. You're going to start using Ozempic. It's the same thing. Like it's just, that doesn't change.
Well, wait, check this out. It can change because I've spent the last 18 years now cultivating positive and optimal changes in my life to actually improve my life.
Right. And those are good. That's what I mean.
Right?
It's positive.
Like choose. Look, no matter what, we're always seeking for a higher level, elevation, growth, expansion.
Yeah, exactly.
Something better, right? We need something to feed us. But the thing is, what are we going to?
Yeah.
And if we actually make right decisions, or the best decision at that time, because I've made a lot of bad decisions in the last 18 years. It's not like I made all perfect decisions, but I always made the best decision available to me at that time.
Of course, yeah.
And so the crazy thing is when people ask, okay, well, would you ever do drugs again? Well, drugs, if it only got me to a 6 or a 7 or a 9 at the most, if you were to ask me now, literally, on a consistent basis, on a scale of 1 to 10, how happy are you? Honest truth, I sit at about an 11. And on good days, I sit at a 13.
Right.
On bad days, it can dip down to a 9.
Yeah.
But with everything that I've fucking practiced and put into practice, and then really did over and over again to find an optimal style of living and choosing as best of right decisions as I can every single fucking time. It doesn't have to be perfect decisions. It just has to be the most optimal decision at that time and the best to what I know. Literally, you could create a fucking life of freedom, happiness, joy. And then when you actually take that and share it with others, oh my fucking goodness.
Yeah.
That's why the joy goes past 10.
Right.
If you just do it for yourself, it's a 1 to 10. 10 is the best you could feel.
Right.
When you start doing it for others, it grows exponentially.
The exponential part. Totally.
Yeah.
No,
and
agreed.
that's where everything changes. So, yeah, I truly, 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 truly know for a fact, not believe, but I know for a fact that I will never do drugs again.
Right.
It's not happening.
Yeah.
Period.
I agree.
Now, will I make other mistakes? Oh, fuck yeah. I make a ton of them all the time. But without the drugs to fuck it up even worse, I'm good. I'll figure that out.
Yeah, exactly. That's what, I'm grateful for all of it because now I have a perspective that is very hard to achieve in any other way where, if you have a bad day, it's like not that bad though, compared to how bad that was. Those days were bad. I had cancer too during my addiction and was like bedridden for a couple of years and on oxygen, and those were really bad days. So like, if you
wait, you're recovered from cancer too?
Yeah, and that was all.
What the fuck?
Yeah, it's crazy. So like that was all. Those were bad days. So today, if a day is bad, it's really awesome, honestly, to be like, well, no, it's not. And actually, it's not comparative. Yeah, and yeah, you can like still have a bad day, of course, but yeah, I agree, man. The I definitely don't ever plan to use drugs again. I just always want to maintain that vulnerability and respect
And that,
to it.
a
Yeah,
healthy fear.
yeah. Not even a fear, just like a never
Well,
forget thing. Like that shit, like will steal you, and I will never do it again. But I would be. I've seen people who get this ego thing to it and are like, yeah, I'm more powerful than that shit, and that's I think a problem. And having like a healthy respect for it and being like, stay away. Like that's not for a while. I couldn't go in bars. I was drinking a lot and crazy, but I now can. I don't care what's around me, and someone could even start doing drugs around me,
yeah,
and I don't give a shit.
right.
Like I'm so far removed and not a fan. I'm just whatever. Do your thing. To each their own. Feel very strong in my sobriety, but have always tried to maintain that kind of. I don't know what the right word is, but like healthy respect for what it can do. So.
Yeah, actually, in Christian terms, it's a healthy, like just fear God factor. It's a
Right,
healthy
right,
fear,
right.
but more of a respect factor of like you know what it can do.
Yeah, I'm never gonna pretend what happened didn't happen, so therefore I need to like maintain that. I need to remember, and remembering helps me become a better person today, and you know helps me help more people too. It's crazy when I'll help someone in like active addiction or like day one of sobriety. It's so crazy because all that stuff comes back, and that's kind of how like the AA NA world works, right? Is you help someone just getting sober and you're 10 years in,
Right.
which reminds you of what it was like so that it maintains and keeps your sobriety strong. I'm not a sponsor. I don't regularly go to meetings, but I've been to so many of them early on, and that's a big piece of like how that works. And I've had instances where I've helped a lot of people indirectly, like not really trying to, but just by promoting and telling my story to a lot of our students over the years at our audio school and stuff, that like there's so much drugs and
Oh
partying
my
and
gosh,
music.
especially music. Fuck yeah.
I've had many students. I've taught 1,000 plus at this point, audio production, music engineering, all that stuff, and a lot of them have had issues with drugs and alcohol. And I never push it on them. I just tell my story. Hey, I wanted to be an artist and DJ and music producer when I was younger, and I thought to do that and to be cool and to be accepted meant to use drugs, and that made you more creative and all that stuff. And I was terribly wrong. And
Oh my
here
gosh,
I am. Here I am today. I own my own studio and produce for a lot of people and make music and live that dream fully today. Working
fully
music.
sober.
Yeah, and I'm cool as fuck now. Like, you know what I mean? I thought I was back then, but it really was so flipped. I came from a place of severe lack of self-love and insecurity, and it was being masked with this mask of drugs and, playing a role to try to feel cool and accepted. One of the human needs is just to be accepted.
Right.
And if you're not feeling accepted in friends, and it could be very simply where you're just like a picked on kid, and then you like go to the party and you like smoke some weed or do some lines with people, and all of a sudden you're like part of a crew and you're like accepted, and that's
actually how I started.
yeah,
my road to
exactly, yeah, that's
addiction.
exactly, man. That's how it always starts, and that's very addictive in itself. You're like, whoa, now I'm accepted and cool. Oh, like you're not gonna give that up because it satisfies that need of being loved and accepted. In addition to now you're high and it feels cool too. So that's like hard to. Again, there's a reason people start using drugs, and that goes away pretty quick. So, but yeah, so that's kind of the road to here.
So let's reshift the focus now. How amazing is life now?
It's great. I have an amazing girlfriend. We just got back from Hawaii. I ran that Honolulu marathon, which is crazy to think I when I was younger, I still have asthma, but I would be hospitalized a bunch. In fifth grade, it was like 70 days of school I missed being hospitalized for asthma and pneumonia, and just really struggled with lungs when I was younger. And a week ago, I just ran a marathon, which is...
I'm pretty sure cancer and adding drugs into the mix wasn't a...
Yeah, and all that shit. It's crazy. So it's just a feat of like what you can accomplish if you just keep putting one foot in front of the other. There are really hard days, I'm no way like cured or perfect. I don't know exactly what my number is, day to day, but it's 100 million times better than the days before getting sober or having cancer and being on oxygen and all that shit, So, yeah, I'm building this new business in Denver now, again, called Develop. And the whole premise of that, it's spelled DVLP, is to develop yourself through creative means. Music helped save me in so many ways, and being creative, because I could point my addict power energy into creative arts and music and build something magical that way that wasn't fake and lifeless with drugs like drugs were.
That's awesome.
And so that's what I help students do now. I kind of coach and teach students to do the same thing, and I help them not just learn how to do music and learn like our DAWs, our Ableton, Pro Tools, all those things, but also, if a student comes to me and is like, "Hey, how do you deal with a writer's block?" Then the first thing I'll ask them is, "Are you working out?"
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because that's not learning the software, but it's literally, it's all the same thing. If you're not
energy shifts.
Yeah, if you're not living well, exercising, eating healthy, if you're just in your little dungeon in front of your computer trying to make music all day, what are you making the music about?
So it's a holistic approach to creation.
Yeah, and like with some coaching, and that's where the name Develop comes from, where you're going to develop yourself through creative means. We're a music immersion program, so we get immersed. It's kind of a, the new way of education, I think, for creative arts. We're going to be adding like video and that sort of thing in too.
Nice.
And editing and film and all that stuff. We're in construction at the new building in Denver that I acquired recently, and so it's really crazy to look back and compare to now and be like, what the hell? How did this happen? But I just stay grateful and kind of go from day to day and just keep moving forward. And one of my favorite books is called The Surrender Experiment.
Love it. And Michael Singer?
Yeah, I think and really, really good book. I read it a couple times recently, within the past year or so. I was going through some, very difficult kind of professional business stuff, and just the idea of surrendering to what comes your way and just moving forward with it is really powerful. So I've been trying to maintain that energy and just, let life guide me, I guess, in a way, Yeah,
it's actually crazy. Surrender is my key to freedom.
Right.
Surrender is the word that I use as my key to freedom. Other people have different keys to freedom. Some are just workaholics, and driving into hard work was theirs. Some is religion and freedom from there. Others, their key
Mine's
to freedom.
prevail. If you had to distill it to one word, the word prevail.
Okay, explain that to me.
Yeah, so we made that song too with Greg called Prevail.
Yeah.
And that's where that came from, because it was during COVID, and we wrote that. I told him the story. So anyway, I was in the first rehab I went to. That first rehab actually is where I got my dog. Her name is Bella, and this rehab, they give you a lab as part of the treatment.
I was just about to ask you, what the heck? What do you mean you got a dog at a
rehab? Yeah. So it's called Capstone Treatment Center in Arkansas. Shout out. I was there when I was 17. I was sentenced to go there. I forgot to add this in. I was arrested for 11 felonies of distribution when I was 17 in Durango. Forgot about that piece of it. So I was selling a lot of drugs at that point, which was crazy, but just to fuel my habit, right?
We're a business.
Yeah. Yes, very much so. And so, this rehab, you go there. It's in Searcy, Arkansas. Amazing place, and part of the treatment is you get a dog, literally, a lab. You choose the sex and the color. So I got, I was this super messed up 17-year-old, and got there, and a few days later they handed me this little puppy, and we're like, "Here's your dog."
What color?
Yellow lab. Yeah, her name's Bella. Yeah, she's my everything. She's turns 14 on.
Oh, you still have her?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, she turns 14 on January 1st.
Oh wow. So that makes you 31.
So, yeah, and her birthday is 1111, January 1st, 2011, and it's weird because when I was in juvie after my arrest, I wrote on this big paper 1/1/11 on January 1st, 2011, because I thought it was like a cool date. and I made this like cool artwork on the paper. When you're in jail, you just do random drawings to pass the time. And it turns out that's the day she was born. And anyway, I got her, and I didn't get sober after that first rehab by any means. I then went off to college and partied and all that. But she came with me and has been with me every day since then, through the cancer, through everything. She now has cancer in her right shoulder, and she's trucking through. I feel like every dog that hits 13 plus, Matt just has cancer though. So, it's not like anything unusual for a dog of that age. And she's doing great. They wanted me to cut off her leg, but I didn't, and I'm glad I didn't. She's on some pain pills, and she's doing great. But we've been through it all together. And anyway, in that first rehab, I just would, for some reason, write the word prevail on like walls or like in books as a way to almost tether me to reality and just to prevail, to push and fight through when everything seems so like you shouldn't. And so that word, to now fast forward to this day, is on a piece of paper on one of my consoles at the studio, and has been for a long time, and is that's where that came from, and where that song came from as well. So
that's amazing.
Yeah.
I like that.
So similar to surrender, if there was like a word.
Well, prevail has like this powerful, like, no matter what, I'm pushing through. It doesn't matter what it is, I'm going to prevail.
Right.
And that's like a setting an intention.
Yeah.
And again, the power of those words, you prevailed.
Yeah.
That's fucking amazing.
Yeah, and to this day, still, there's the life issues and easy days, hard days, whatever, and you just have to prevail, right? Through business decisions or through a hard exercise. When you're at mile 24 and your legs are spasming in your first marathon, that was wildly painful.
Awesome. Yeah. I'm not there yet. I need to run a marathon.
It was, that's in those moments you have the choice to stop.
Right.
Or prevail. So that's
same thing with your journey to recovery. You have a choice.
Yeah, exactly.
You have a choice to quitting or prevail.
Right, and that's going back to the, like, will you use again? Like, obviously no, but it's an active choice from moment to moment.
Yeah.
Like, I will always choose
to prevail.
To not.
No, to prevail.
Exactly.
Not even to not. It's just to prevail. Like, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's my focus. Fuck the other shit. It doesn't even have to be mentioned anymore. I'm just choosing to prevail in life,
yeah.
No matter what it is. I'm not going to choose. It doesn't matter. You don't even have to insert the blank. Right? Like, I will just choose to prevail. Period.
Yeah.
So
There's always
that looks like.
Agreed. There's always two ways to look at any one thing, the whole yin and yang kind of thing of life, right? If something happens, you can look at it positively or negatively. And so the idea of prevailing is viewing it positively and pushing through in spite of.
Right. It's not because it's not there.
Right.
It's not the absence of. It's in spite of.
Yeah.
And it's in the midst of. So that's super awesome. Well, man, how can anybody find you? Tell everybody where they can find you.
At the Drew Dugan on Instagram, and I believe it's the same thing on TikTok. I'm trying to grow socials, and I have the Develop Academy, spelled DVLP as well, which is that business of mine where I help people learn
Is Academy
music.
Spelled ACDMY?
No.
Just kidding.
Normal Academy. It's a brand new thing in a lot of ways, but we've also been doing it under a different name for many years. So we are working on our brand and building the new space. Really exciting times with that, to get involved and learn music production, audio engineering, and all of that stuff. And then we'll have that on all the other socials and stuff as we grow, and have a marketing company I'm working with and all those things. And then one of my other goals and dreams is to build sober living houses. So that's something I really want to do. I've taken some courses on like real estate investing and stuff, and the whole purpose of doing that was to build sober living houses that implement like the arts. So that's something I really want
That's
to
it. That's a great-
Easier said than done, and I'm not sure when it will happen, but want to maybe call them Bella's house after my angel dog Bella. So yeah, but also shout out to my mom. She's an angel, has been there for me every step of the way, and my entire family and friends and support system and all of that. So but yeah, I'm always here to help and reach out. I recently talked at that Cedar Rehab too. They had me on for like a virtual speaker kind of meeting.
That's awesome.
It was really cool to go back into those settings. It's kind of surreal, but it's also just awesome because you can talk directly to these kids and whatever adults that are in there that are like 5 days sober, maybe 30 days sober, and don't believe it'll work out. And you can tell, they don't think it's
Right. They don't believe it's possible.
they don't think it's going to be okay, whether it's their whatever's going on in their life or the drugs, etc. And it's really cool to go in there and tell them, hey, no, it actually can be
Right.
okay, and you get to choose, and giving them the power to make that decision. So maintaining the like kind of respect to this and surrendering, like they say in the steps, like I surrender to the fact that I'm an addict, kind of that whole thing, but not so much to where you're giving your power away. So maintaining the power and the decision to choose each day to prevail, but also maintaining the kind of like surrender mindset.
Right. So again, to anybody out there that is watching this, right? Like if you know anybody that is trying to find recovery or on their road to recovery and they don't believe it's possible, make sure to tag them on this. Like send this to them, send this video to them, send any of the reels to them. Maybe there's something in there. Maybe there's something that we talked about that could just help click, or if it's not one of those clicks, just a seed that's planted. So make sure to share that. And to all the creatives out there, if you're looking to do music, make sure to check out the Develop Academy. And
Yeah.
guys, it's been a great session talking with you again.
Yes, agreed.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming out here. And again, for anybody that wants to follow it, at Sobersuperstars, and share it with everybody you know.
Yeah,
Who knows, it might impact somebody's life.
Super cool thing you're doing, and I commend you for doing it, and it's very needed. So thank you.
You're very welcome.